Is Pamela Moses, who goes by P. Moses. Now, Moses was granted a new trial last month, and she was sentenced to 6 years in prison after a jury found the activist knowingly falsified information on a voting document. Now, Moses' lawyers say with the new evidence entered into court records, a jury would almost certainly find Moses innocent. We're now joined by P. Moses from North Memphis, as well as her legal counsel, Rodney S. Diggs and James A. Bryant, both out of Los Angeles. Glad to have you here. And so, first and foremost, lay out the legal strategy, Rodney and James, that you have for P. Moses to get these prosecutors to back off trying to retry her.
Sure. Thank you, Roland. At the moment, what we're doing is we are asking and actually demanding that the DA dismiss all charges against Pamela Moses. Should the DA not want to do that and try to move forward with the new trial, which Ms. Moses should not sit through again, then we're asking that a special prosecution take place to review the evidence and go from there. But at this moment, the first step is to have the charges against Ms. Moses dismissed.
This obviously has been very difficult for you, P. Moses, because, so walk folks through, people, they may have read about the story, may have heard us do it before. So walk us through what happened here that got us to this point.
Well, in 2019, I was arrested at the Chicago O'Hare Airport. Didn't know what was going on. I was in customs, and they told me that I was a fugitive of justice. And I was somewhat confused because, you know, I've been in trouble before, but I had never been listed as a fugitive, and they couldn't tell me why. I just had to go with them, and it just felt really weird. And when the Chicago police informed me that I had charges out of Shelby County, I told them, well, I just flew out of there. If, you know, 2 weeks prior or a week prior, if I was a fugitive, I don't think that the airport would have allowed me to do that. But they took me and they put me in the Cook County Jail. I think I was right across the street from R. Kelly and other, you know, notorious inmates that were being housed in this historical jail. And I was kept there for a number of days. And then finally, I was taken to court, and I appeared before a Black judge who somewhat wanted to know if I wanted to waive extradition or not. And he said if I didn't, that they would get a governor's warrant to have me transported. And I was just somewhat confused because getting off of a flight like that, you know, and being stopped is just within itself is traumatic, but to then be thrown in jail and not know what it's about or what it's for, it really did something to me. But, you know, God got me through that situation. And after I was held in jail, they picked me up and they, in a white van, a contracted employees for Arkansas, picked me up in a white van and they rode me around 18 different states for 4 days, picking up different inmates, dropping them off. And so I got a very good look of how the states do human trafficking, but they call it fugitives. And, you know, some of the people may have been fugitives, but I wasn't charged with an offense of violence. In fact, I didn't even know what I had been charged with. I just knew I had charges out of Shelby County. And when I finally got back, you know, after riding around all these states, picking up inmates, I was able to then, you know, post bond after a couple of days of being in the Shelby County Jail East. And it was, you know, told to me that I had all these illegal charges for surrounding voting. And, you know, I was just grateful to get out, and I remained out for some time. And the lawyer that I had retained originally, he had got in some type of trouble, and so he couldn't represent me. And the judge appointed me this new lawyer because I spent all my money on bail and the previous lawyer. So he appointed me this lawyer who, at the time, I was okay with because I thought he would, you know, could easily get this taken care of. But I later found out that, he wasn't working for my best interest. He was just trying to basically get it over with the best way he could, which was to make me plead guilty to something that I did not do. And so, because I rejected their pleas, the judge put me on the bench and told me that if I didn't take a plea, I would be facing 42 years in prison. And I said, okay, well, I'm definitely, going to have to go to trial on this if I'm facing that much. And then they, did a series of offers trying to get me to take a plea. But when I would ask the lawyer as well as the prosecutor, because I had several conversations with the assistant district attorney, and I would say, okay, what did I do? And they never could tell me. They just wanted me to take this plea. And I was like, I can't do that, because the same district attorney that was handling this matter had also handled the previous matter, which was filed way before this indictment, which was to get a full restoration, to get like my gun rights, certificate of employability, because as a felon, it's very difficult to get a job. But if you get a certificate of employability, you're able to then work. So you have to go through a legal process to do that, which I did do. And it was during that filing that triggered all this. Oh, she's trying to become normal again. She wants her rights back. She wants to run for public office. She wants to do this. Oh, we can't let that happen. And they just then decided to April, that petition was filed. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, the 6 months later, this indictment came out. And so it was just very difficult even understanding what I had did. But once we finally got to the gist of it, 12 of the 14 counts were dismissed by the district attorney's office because they were basically duplicate charges.
They hit you with 14 counts?
14 counts. It was 14 counts originally on the indictment. And that was why they thought I should plead guilty. But, I know you're talking about this case, but I can't talk about this case without talking about how we got to here. The case that put me in this situation, it had 10 counts, and I did plead guilty to those charges, not because I was innocent, but like most people, I plea bargained to get the situation over with, because there was not necessarily guilt on my part, but it was like fighting a losing battle, trying to discredit an attorney and a judge who had made some sort of allegations. Well, at the time, I thought